All right, so this is going to be another movie review. This one's called The Fast and the Furious 2001. This is going to be another lamestream movie. Giving it 1 out of 5 stars. I hated this flick. Oh, bother me. And the depressing thing is that they've got some gangster rappers doing auto-tune and Limp Bizkit and all this other stuff. Oh man, the soundtrack was absolutely atrocious. There's Too Fast, Too Furious. Hopefully this one is better. The original has the director of The Wiz, Rob Cohen, I think his name is. I had The Wiz on my Netflix queue, but my Netflix queue is gone as of today. It doesn't exist anymore. I transferred it over to my list, so maybe I'll get around to watching The Wiz. One of these days, Adrian recommended it to me. Karate Man asked me if I thought the franchise was overrated, so I put 8 discs on my Netflix queue. Netflix sent me 2 so far. They got 3 more that they sent me yesterday. I don't know if I haven't checked the mail to see if I received the other 3. But ironically, so Netflix went out with the whimper. They told me they were going to send me up to 10 discs, and they sent me 2. So I'm done with Netflix. This is going to be one of my very last videos where I show you the actual disc, which is what Adrian likes. But to answer Karate Man's question, so far the franchise is way overrated, and you can kind of tell by the bonus features and the Wikipedia page how it how it did so well financially, but got mixed reviews. Budget of $38 million and a box office of $207.3 million. Michelle Rodriguez is hot. The white gal, Jordana Brewster. She's got the her suit eyebrows. She's playing Vin Diesel's sister. Neither one of them get naked. Although there's a lesbian kissing scene at one of Vin Diesel's parties. All the acting in this movie is atrocious. The ending didn't make sense. The soundtrack is terrible. It did sort of get interesting in the middle with the plot twist, and the action was pretty decent, but this movie just had too many things wrong with it. Despite all that, I'm still giving it 1 out of 5 stars. And for full disclosure, I hated the original 1954 version of this. So this is a remake of the 1954 flick, Roger Corman. But on Wikipedia, it says, for the 1954 film after which film and franchise's title, see The Fast and the Furious 1954 film. It doesn't say anything about remake. Because the 2 movies have absolutely nothing to do with each other. And this movie is way dated. You can sort of tell, I was telling my coworker, you can sort of tell what year this movie was made by the music on the soundtrack. And they keep shifting gears even though it's an automatic car. That's what my coworker said. This was recommended to me by a previous coworker. And then Karate Man, sort of off the cuff, asked me in the chat room if I thought the franchise was overrated. So far, I've only seen one movie. Based on one movie, I'm leaning towards yes. But hopefully, the sequels are different. The Boys in the Hood director did Too Fast, Too Furious. So I'm holding out hope that the sequel is better than the original. I'm trying to keep an open mind, but I tried to. In a way, I'm kind of disappointed that Karate Man even mentioned this franchise off the cuff because I hate lamestream movies in general. This channel is not about lamestream movies. I'm sorry. But that being said, I will criticize lamestream movies. I will watch them for you, the people. The friends of my channel from Australia. I do it all for you. All right. I'm not like this conspiracy theory priest, Father Isaac Mary Relaya. He gets up there and he says, "Oh, this movie doesn't match up with Holy Scripture, and there's no way I'm going to watch it." So he's criticizing the movie, but he hasn't watched it. We don't make that same mistake here on this channel. We watch it to give it full criticism, and we don't contradict ourselves on this channel. We don't base our information on hearsay. We base it on Wikipedia. And let me go through this because it's going to take me an hour to get through this. I think I said enough about this, that, and the other. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty, shall we? The Fast and the Furious is a 2001 action film directed by Rob Cohen. And there's a ton of bonus features on this disc, including the director who's censoring the part where the guy's arm is getting mauled by the wire because he's trying to get a PG-13 rating, which is another thing, a bad thing about this movie. They're censoring it to get a PG-13 movie to get more money. You sacrifice creativity, originality for the almighty dollar in this one. And it's blatant. It's on display in the bonus features, which makes it even more irritating. Okay. The Fast and the Furious. Another thing, Vin Diesel is wearing a crucifix, but he talks about how he went after Johnny Tran's girlfriend, which is a funny name for a villain, Johnny Tran. Because there's a gay guy who, co-worker of my first wife, who had the hots for me when I was like 30. And his name was John Tran. Hi, I'm John Tran. Anyways, I digress. Let me get to the nitty-gritty here, like I promised. Directed by Rob Cohen from Screenplay by Gary Scott Thompson, Eric Berquist, and David Ayer. Based on the Vibe magazine article Racer X by Ken Lee. I guess that's why they're not calling it a remake, because it's based on some magazine article. The first installment of the Fast and Furious franchise. It stars Paul Walker, Vin Diesel, Michelle Rodriguez, who was in she was in Avatar, right? I saw Avatar in 3D with this white woman who couldn't figure out that I was married. And I met this Indonesian woman on Tinder who has a boyfriend. I don't even know what she's doing on Tinder. I guess she's looking for a white man. There's Jordana Brewster, her suit eyebrows. Oh, she's really good looking. She's got a nice tan too. Rick Yoon, who plays, hi, I'm John Tran. Chad Lindbergh, Johnny Strong, and Ted Levine. I'm only familiar with the first three names because Paul Walker is in the sequel. Vin Diesel, I heard a lot about him. This is the first movie of his that I've seen. He's a terrible actor. My coworker said he's ugly, even though my previous coworker said that he was hot because she likes bald guys, I guess. Anyways, in the film, Brian O'Connor Walker, an LAPD officer, goes undercover in the street racing world to investigate a group of unknown hijackers believed to be led by Dominic Toretto, Diesel. We don't even know that he's the bad guy till the middle of the movie. Although his words and deeds are kind of point in that direction, but and the ending made absolutely no sense to me. The Fast and the Furious entered development in late 1998. Its concept inspired by a Vibe article about illegal street racing in New York City. Thompson and Bergquist wrote the original screenplay that year, with Ayer hired soon after. Various actors were considered for the roles of O'Connor and Toretto, with Walker cast in 1998 and then Diesel in early 1999, with the pair attending actual street races in preparation for the film. Principal photography began in July 2000 and finished that October, with filming locations primarily including Los Angeles and the surrounding area in Southern California. Record producer BT was hired to compose the score, which was god-awful commercial rap, which is kind of ironic because it's got Scarface, Method Man, and Redman, and Santana, which I put in the description, but I think in one of the Method Man hip-hop songs, his first album, he talks about underground hip-hop and commercial rap. He hates it with a passion. Well, he's doing commercial rap in this one, which is because one of the reasons why Method Man doesn't have any money. Nobody can believe him. He doesn't mean what he says. The Fast and the Furious premiered at the Mann Village Theater in Los Angeles on June 18, 2001, and it was released in the United States on June 22nd by Universal Pictures. The film received mixed reviews from critics, with criticism for its story, but praise for the action sequences and Diesel and Walker's performances. Yeah, the story was terrible, although there was a plot twist, and the action sequences were decent in the middle of the movie. Diesel and Walker's performances were awful. With the film considered their breakthrough roles, The Fast and the Furious grossed over $207 million worldwide. It was followed by Too Fast, Too Furious in 2003. A heist crew driving 3 heavily modified Honda Civics hijack a semi-truck trailer carrying electronic goods and escape into the night along Terminal Island Freeway. We don't know who these people are. They're in black cars with tinted windows. Meanwhile, LAPD officer Brian O'Connor is sent undercover as part of a joint LAPD FBI task force. And they're wearing military protection gear. They're like riot control gear going into I'm John Tran's house. To locate the crew responsible, Brian investigates Toretto's market, managed by Mia, sister of notorious street racer Dominic Dom Toretto. When Dom's crew arrives, Vince, Leon, Jesse, and Dom's girlfriend, Letty, who's hot. She's got a see-through shirt with a bra going, but she doesn't get naked. She just looks like a shanty tramp, and her acting is horrible. Vince picks a fight with Brian. Brian is promptly fired from his job working undercover at Harry's garage, and he's banned from the market. Brian brings a modified 1995 Mitsubishi Eclipse RS to a car meet, hoping to find a lead on the heist crew. Don arrives in his RX-7 and he initiates a race. Without credibility, Brian wagers his car. He, Dom, and two other drivers race. Brian's car malfunctions and Dom wins the race, but LAPD officers arrive, forcing Dom to flee. Brian rescues Dom and he helps him escape, inadvertently venturing into territory held by a rival racing gang led by Johnny. Hi, I'm John Tran, and his cousin Lance. Tran and Lance destroy the Eclipse, and the two are forced to return to Dom's home on foot. Dom reiterates that Brian still owes him a 10-second car. Brian delivers a decrepit MK4 Toyota Supra to Dom's garage, and the crew begins the process of restoring it. At the same time, Brian begins dating Mia and looks into Tran's finances. Yeah, he doesn't waste any time. He's getting intimate with Mia all of a sudden. Father Chad Ripperger says you got to wait a year and a half, but this guy's on it from day one. While investigating one of Hector's garages, Brian is discovered by Dom and Vince. He convinces the latter he is researching trans gangs vehicles in preparation for race wars. In the process, the three discover a large number of electronic goods, which Brian reports to his superiors, LAPD Sergeant Tanner and FBI Special Agent Bilkins, who's trying to get him fired. Tran is arrested, but found to have acquired the goods illegally. An enraged Bilkins berates Tanner, and Brian threatens to fire him if he doesn't come up with something in 36 hours. Tanner then informs Brian that the truck drivers have begun arming themselves to kill the hijackers, and he notifies them that he has 36 hours to find them, whom the former believes was Dom all along. It was Dom. I like Michelle Rodriguez. Looks like she gained some weight in 2018. Even though she's a sorry actor, she's hot. Brian and Dom attend race wars where Jesse wagers and loses. Too bad she doesn't get naked. Loses his father's MK3 Volkswagen Jetta in a drag race against Tran, driving his Honda S2000. Jesse flees upon losing, resulting in a confrontation between Dom and Tran. Tran accuses Dom of being a narc, and the two fight before being broken up. That evening, Brian witnesses Dom leaving with his crew to carry out the heist. Brian reveals his identity to his distraught Mia, convincing her to help him. Knowing their danger, Dom, Letty, Vince, and Leon attempt to hijack the truck. The driver fires on Vince, critically injuring him and running Letty off the road in the process. Poor Letty. She's hanging out with the wrong crowd. Brian and Mia catch up to help, but Brian is forced to reveal his identity when he calls for Medivac, which is an air ambulance, to save Vince. Dom, Mia, Letty, and Leon flee the scene before the police arrive. Later, Brian arrives to arrest Dom, but he the latter demands he leave in order to save Jesse from the danger he's in from Tran's gang. Jesse arrives moments later, pleading for help, but is gunned down by Tran and Lance on motorcycles. Thom gives chase in his father's 1970 Charger RT, which looks like a real race car, finally. Not a souped-up Toyota. With Brian following, Thom runs Lance off the road, and Brian kills Tran. Brian then pursues Thom, and the two agree to a quarter-mile race over a railroad crossing. The race narrowly ends in a draw, but Thom is T-boned by a passing truck. Instead of arresting him, Brian hands over the key to his Supra, reminding Thom he was owed a 10-second car. Brian walks away as Thom drives off. Why would a police officer allow a criminal to drive off? What kind of funky legal system is going on here? It makes no sense. The central cast is rounded out by Ted Levine, who's in Silence of the Lamb, and Monk. I've never seen either one of those. And Thom, Barry, and Tanner, and Blink Billikens, respectively, members of the team that organized the investigation to place Brian undercover, and Matt Schulze as Vince, member of Dong's crew and his childhood friend. Noel Gugliemi appears as Hector, the organizer of the drag race. Musician and rapper Ja Rule, who's terrible lamestream rap, reminds me of the terrible music from this era. And car turner R.J. De Vera also act as Edwin and Danny, fellow drivers at the drag race who race against Thom and Brian. Vito Roginas plays Henry, an informant and owner of the Racer's Edge. Reggie Lee plays Lance Wynn, Tran's cousin and right-hand man. Neal H. Moritz and Rob Cohen both appear in cameos. I forgot to put Rob Cohen's name in the acting credits because I did see his face. We'll say Rob Cohen. All right, that's fixed. Moritz plays an unnamed driver of black Ferrari F355 convertible who was given a challenge by Brian when Cohen plays a Pizza Hut delivery man. In 2000, actor Paul Walker had worked with director Rob Cohen on The Skulls. Cohen secured a deal with producer Neal H. Moritz for an untitled action film for Universal Pictures, and he approached Walker and he asked him to suggest his dream action film. Walker suggested a mashup of the films Days of Thunder and Donnie Brasco. I've heard of Donnie Brasco. Soon thereafter, Cohen and Moritz brought him the Vibe magazine article Racer X by Ken Lee, published in May 1998, which detailed underground street racing operating in New York City, and he suggested a story set to follow Walker as an undercover cop tasked with infiltrating the world of underground street racing. The screenplay was originally developed by Gary Scott Thompson and Eric Berquist. They should have just stuck with those two guys. David Ayer, who's a terrible writer, he did Training Day, The Fast and the Furious, and SWAT. He also directed Harsh Times, was brought into the project to help rework the script. I think he ruined the script. Ayer changed it from mostly white and suburban story set in New York to the diverse one set in Los Angeles. That's another thing. They try to make it politically correct with all these ethnic people. You got John Tran. You got Michelle Rodriguez. You got the Cholo guy, whatever his name is. And so you got the colors of the rainbow here. You even got lesbians at the party. Upon being offered the role, Walker signed on immediately. Eminem was offered the role, but it turned it down to work on the film 8 Mile, which I have not seen. And Mark Wahlberg and Christian Bale were also considered. It would have been a better film with Mark Wahlberg and Christian Bale. I don't know about Eminem. Haven't seen any of his movies. Don't care for commercial rap. There's a lot of commercial rap in this movie. Originally, the studio told the producers they would greenlight the film if they could get Timothy Oliphant to play the role of Dominic Toretto. Oliphant, however, I don't even know who this guy is. Oliphant, however, who had starred in the previous year's car-themed Gone in 60 Seconds with Nicolas Cage, Angelina Jolie, Robert Duvall, he declined the role. Oliphant said that he turned down the role as he thought the film would be stupid. It is stupid. Moritz, this movie is for stupid people. It's for my former coworker who was putting lids on top of vaults. That's how stupid it is. Moritz instead suggested Vin Diesel, who had to be convinced to have the role, even though he only played supporting roles up to that point. The role of Mia Toretto was originally written for Eliza Dushku, another hirsute eyebrows white woman. She played Faith in Buffy the Vampire Slayer and a spin-off series, Angel. She also was in True Calling. Don't know who she is, but she looks hot. Mia Toretto. Oh, I'm sorry, Eliza Dushku, who turned down the role, and Sarah Michelle Gellar, Jessica Biel. We like Jessica Biel on this channel. We like the Total Call remake, even though she got criticism for her acting in that. Kirsten Dunst from Spider-Man. She was in Spider-Man, right? I can't remember. Anyway, Natalie Portman, who was in can't even remember. I think she was bald-headed in that movie I saw on the big screen. I can't remember the name of it. She auditioned for it. Moritz had difficulty choosing between the titles Racer X after the article Red Line, Race Wars, and Street Wars, but ultimately inspired by a documentary on American International Pictures, which included the 1954 The Fast and the Furious. So it was a remake in that sense, because Moritz based the movie title on a documentary, AIP documentary. Moritz, who was traded use of some stock footage to its director, Roger Corman, in exchange for a license to use the title. So that's the connection. Roger Corman making a little coin off this, but nowhere near the coin that they made in profit after the movie was released. The film was shot in various locations within Los Angeles, parts of Southern California from July to October 2000. Like I said, they should have just kept it in New York, but they want to make it politically correct. Key locations included Dodger Stadium, the opening scene where Brian is Eclipse in the parking lot, Angelino Heights, Silver Lake, and Echo Park, the neighborhoods around the Toretto house, as well as Little Saigon, where Tread destroys the Eclipse, and which was a lame explosion, by the way. And the San Bernardino International Airport, the venue for race wars, which attracted over 1,500 import car owners and enthusiasts. The entire last rig heist scene was filmed along Domino, can't even pronounce this, Dominagoni Parkway on the southern side of San Jacinto Hemet in the San Jacinto and Diamond Valley, near Diamond Valley Lake. Prior to filming, both Jordana Brewster and Michelle Rodriguez did not have driver's licenses, so they took driving lessons during production for the climatic race scene between. This is another thing. They try to make it feminist with all these female race drivers, like Danica Patrick kind of women. Separate shots. How many times does this movie irritate me? Anyways, for being politically correct, for having a lame soundtrack, terrible acting, lack of action, ending that makes absolutely no sense. I can go on for hours. Separate shots of both cars crossing the railroad and the train crossing the street were filmed, then composited together to give the illusion of the train narrowly missing the cars. They do that in the bonus features. There's like 2 hours of bonus features on this disc, which is why I'm running late on these reviews. And I suspect the sequel has an equal amount or maybe more bonus features, which is going to cause me trouble to get through this tomorrow morning if I can't wake up early enough. I'm going to a church function, some kind of a Father Sony is going to talk about faith and reason, and then Father Joseph is going to do a couple of slideshows. I have to remember to stand up when the priests enter the room. I bet you neither one of those priests has ever seen anybody stand up for them. Anyways, I'm digressing again. A long steel rod was used as a ramp for Thom's car to crash through the semi-truck, fly in midair. During filming, 78 cars were wrecked both on and off screen, of which 3 cars were shown being destroyed in the film's trailer alone. The trailer is on the bonus features. You've got trailer music videos, the ending scene, different camera angles. I mean, the bonus features are just completely insane. And I could tell that I wasn't going to like the movie from the bonus features. Anyways, the film score was composed by music producer BT, who has absolutely no talent at mixing electronic with hip-hop and industrial influences. 2 soundtracks were released for the film. The first one features mostly hip-hop and rap music. Lame stream. The second one, titled More Fast and Furious, features alternative metal, post-grunge, and new metal songs, as well as select tracks from BT's score. Lame stream. The Fast and the Furious premiered at Man Village Theater in Los Angeles on June 18, 2001. The Fast and the Furious was released on DVD and VHS on January 1st, 2002. The DVD release sold 2.1 million copies during its first day of release, making it the second highest single-day DVD sales of any film behind Pearl Harbor. Lame Stream, another movie that I haven't seen by Michael Bay, starring Ben Affleck, Kate Cuba Gooding Jr., John Voight, the great John Voight. The film also made $18.65 million in video store rental revenue in the first week, a record at the time. It was later surpassed by Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, which I refused to watch. More than 5.5 million home video units were sold by April 2002. A second DVD release, dubbed the Tricked Out Edition, was released on June 3rd, 2003, and it features the turbocharged prelude for Too Fast, Too Furious, a short film that set the tone of the film's sequel. An abridged version of the short film is also the sequel's DVD release. So I guess I'm going to watch the abridged version of the short film, the turbocharged prelude for Too Fast, Too Furious, which will be a separate review, and hopefully it's better than the first one. An alternate ending titled More Fast Than Furious was filmed, in which Tanner drops Brian off the Toretto house, where he encounters Mia packing, tending to move away. Brian reveals that he resigned from the LAPD, who let him go quietly, and then he wants another chance with her. When Mia tells him that it is not going to be that simple, Brian tells her that he has time. This ending was released in the collection bundle DVD version. Well, that would have been a better ending. It would have explained why Brian is willing to let Thom go scot-free. He no longer works for the LAPD. But you wouldn't deduce that 36 hours went by so fast by watching this movie, because it's more like 20 minutes. So, very confusing ending. Thought it could have been better done, but that's just my 2 cents worth nothing after inflation. Racing Champions released die-cast metal replicas of the film's cars, different scales from 118 to 164. Radio Shack and Zip Zap's micro RC versions of the cars in 2002. Radio Shack sold Zip Zap's micro RC versions of the cars in 2002. 124 scale plastic model kits of the hero cars were manufactured by AMT Ertl. The Fast and the Furious was released on June 22nd, 2001 in North America, and it ranked number 1 at the box office, ahead of Dr. Dolittle 2, Lara Croft Tomb Raider with Angelina Jolie, and Atlantis Lost Empire. I haven't seen any of these movies. I'm not interested in Disney. I don't care about Harry Potter. Earning $89,015 during its opening weekend. The film became one of the 4 consecutive Universal films of 2001 to gross $40 million in their opening weekends, with the others being Jurassic Park 3, which I've not seen, American Pie 2, which I've not seen, and The Mummy Returns. Brendan Fraser and Dwayne Johnson, which I have not seen. Its wide release was 2,889 theaters during its run. The film has made a domestic total of $144,533,925 lamestream, along with an international total of $62,750,000, bringing its worldwide total of $207,283,925 on a budget of $38 million. Think about that for a while. Think about the kind of profit the producers got on this movie. On Rotten Tomatoes, The Fast and the Furious has an approval rating of 54% based on 156 reviews, and an average rating of 5.4 out of 10. So it's kind of a lukewarm response on Rotten Tomatoes, which is not a reliable website in my opinion. The website's critical consensus reads, sleek and shiny on the surface, The Fast and the Furious recalls those two cheesy teenage exploitation flicks of the 1950s. I guess they're talking about the original from 1954, which I hated. On Metacritic, the film has a weighted average score of 58 out of 100, very similar to Rotten Tomatoes, not very reliable, based on 29 critics, including mixed or average reviews. Audiences surveyed by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of B+ on an A+ to F scale. Todd McCarthy of Variety called the film a gritty and gratifying cheap thrill. Rob Cohen's high-octane hot car Meller is a true rarity these days, a really good exploitationer, the sort of thing that would rule at drive-ins if they still existed. Kevin Thomas of the Los Angeles Times called it an action picture that's surprising in the complexity of its key characters and portents of tragedy. Vin Diesel's portrayal of Dominic Toretto won praise, with Reese Pendleton of the Chicago Reader writing that Diesel carries the movie with his unsettling mix of zen-like tranquility and barely controlled rage. I think he just looks stupid. I mean, he's like the Three Stooges, curly with his hairdo. Future franchise director Lance Leterrier and star Jason Statham went to watch the film in Paris. From Jason Statham from Crank 2 went to watch the film in Paris in 2001 while on a break from filming The Transporter 2002, and they praised it. I think I have the Transporter on my list somewhere, thanks to Karate Man. Other reviews were more mixed. Susan Wolossiena of USA Today gave the film 2.5 out of 4 stars, saying that Cohen at least knows how to keep matters moving in the action sequences. Society, yeah, I'll admit the scene where they're the scene where Vin Diesel is trying to hijack that truck, and his buddy gets his arm dangled, which was censored in the PG-13 version. That part was pretty decent, I have to admit. It wasn't completely bad. I'd have to say 1.5 out of 10, or 1.5 out of 5, excuse me. Owen Geibelman of Entertainment Weekly gave the film a C, saying it works hard to be exciting, but the movie scarcely lives up to its title. I agree with that. The action scenes are few and far between in this one. Karate Man's in the chat room. He says, best of the best franchise was like the Fast and the Furious of martial arts movies, if you think about it. I don't think Best of the Best made as much money as the first one, Fast and Furious, but okay. Maybe wishful thinking on Karate Man's part. Rita Kempley of the Washington Post gave the film a scathing review, calling it a rebel without a cause. Without a cause. That makes more sense. I didn't like Rebel Without a Cause anyway. The Young and the Restless with gas fumes. The Quick and the Dread with skid marks. Yeah, it's like a soap opera with skid marks. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good description. Paul Clinton of CNN wrote that Cohen created a high-octane, rubber-burning extravaganza, but he criticized the film for plot holes you could drive the proverbial truck through and an idiotic ending. That's what I'm saying. The ending is idiotic. How could anybody believe that? And how does it make any sense? It would have been better if he just said, okay, I quit the police force. Can you now be my girlfriend because I've only dated you for one day? That would have made more sense. The film shattered box office expectation. A sequel, Too Fast, Too Furious, was greenlit immediately. Diesel and Cohen declined to return for the sequel, opting to develop the film Triple X, which I was talking to my coworker about, which starred Diesel in the lead role. To account for these changes, Universal commissioned the writers to create a standalone sequel with Walker in the lead and brought in John Singleton as the new director. Boys in the Hood director. I'm looking forward to the sequel. I hate the original, and I can't really comment to Karate Man on whether the entire franchise. Best of the best. Oh, he's going off on best of the best now. Best of the best one were more of a martial arts tournament with a Rocky vibe to it. Then 2 goes into the blood sport route with some gunplay, and Explosions 3 goes more into the Avenging Force route. Then 4 goes in the direction of Tommy Lee kicking Russian mafia butt with some police corruption to the mix. I think I have best of the best 4 on my list. I'll see about adding best of the best 3. And I think I'll go on to the sequel now. So like I said, Karate Man, Netflix sent me 5 out of the 8 discs. But ironically, they sent it in chronological order because Tokyo Drift is supposed to occur between 6 and 7. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I have 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. And I'm missing 3. We are the best of the best of YouTube channel. So Karate Man is my collaborator. I should just change the name of my channel to Karate Man channel so I can compete more directly and steal more of Rambo Raff for Life's viewers. All right. Well, nice chatting with you, Karate Man. I've got 2 people in the chat room. Only one person is commenting. I guess British Crumpet Man is going to get his crumpet from the toaster. Laters.